to the 30-day photo challenge, April 2021 edition. My name is Elsie Kibue, and I'm a Kenyan photographer based in the UK. So for the whole month of April, I'll be sharing with you photo stories from BIPOC Women Photographers, and we have one with us today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi. My name is Karene Jean-Baptiste, and I'm a photographer based out of Montreal.
Cool. And what do you normally photograph? Like, what's your niche, so to
I would
speak?
say, that's a tough answer actually for me to give, but I would say that I do a lot of portraits, and I do a little bit of family photography as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, because I also struggle as well to say what kind of photographer I am. It's
I
so
like
hard.
everything. I like everything. And I think
Yeah.
it's interesting because I think of Irving Penn
Mm.
as a master, and he photographed all these wonderful different things. So I find it difficult to kind of just settle into one zone.
Yeah, I get you. I totally get it. So, would you like to talk us through the photographs you shared with us today?
Yes. Okay. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. So these three pictures I took on a trip I took in 2016 to Chile, and it was as part of a program that aimed to empower artisan women. So we were working with Mapuche women who are native to Chile, and so basically the idea was to show them how to better market their products, how to do product design and all sorts of things. And the idea was that I would go and sort of photograph the week-long workshop that was happening there. And um, the first image is of some of the crafts that they do. So a lot of it was knitted products from the local wool that they grow. And it was just such a, I think, a tender moment because they were very proud of their work and also kind of shy about showing their work. And there was something in that contrast of the red and sort of the darkness that comes onto the edge that I found really attractive. Um, and so I wanted to play a little bit with the light and the dark. And so that's one of the images I think that I really love best from that trip. Next, we have one of the participants. And the wonderful thing about this woman is that when we initially, first of all, I don't speak Spanish. I should say that outright. I don't know how to speak Spanish, and they don't they don't speak English. So
Mm.
most of our communication was smiles, hand gestures, my very broken Spanish. And I had an interpreter for this when we were dealing with this person in particular, and she came in and she was extremely shy. She said she wasn't comfortable in front of the camera. She told me, she didn't like to have her picture taken. And it was interesting how, as we took more and more images, she felt more comfortable. And I was able to sort of convey that this was a safe space, that I wanted her to to feel as beautiful as I felt that she was. And she sort of grew more comfortable with the camera. And that's when and so there was a gust of wind and she sort of lifted her arms and we were able to get that shot. And it's probably one of the ones that I love both most because she looks so content, so happy, that
Mm.
I'm glad that I was able to capture that moment. So that's one of the pictures I really love. And to this day, we sort of correspond through Facebook. So I go through Google Translate and try to send her some messages every once in a while to keep into contact. And the third one is on our way to one of the local, they had a volcano not far that I wanted to go photograph. And so I was there for a week, and every day I would wake up super early in the morning to try to catch the volcano. So the first day I got lost. The second day there were loose dogs, so I couldn't get to where I wanted to go. Another day, something happened. I think it was raining too much and I couldn't go. And so I kept, being fumbled and not being able to get to the mountain. And one of these mornings, I just got up, took the camera, and I love this shot because it speaks to the landscape, but also the fact that there are tons of sheep that live in the valley. And so they get, their wool kind of gets caught in those local fences that are put around. And I love the mood of that image. So those are the three shots that I took from that trip.
Yeah, and it's when you were speaking about the last image, I had this question in mind. Did you find like by you choosing this and telling that story, like this fence was almost like a metaphor to your stumbling every day trying to get to this volcano?
Absolutely. And it was so funny because the women kept saying, but why do you want to go so badly? And I was like, I said, I think we should go. I really think we should go. And you're right, the fence and the fact that, there's kind of sort of morning dew left on the grass. And again, you know that there are sheep that live in that area. And so all of those things kind of combined made it like a special image for me.
Yeah. You spoke about the women, especially not feeling comfortable being photographed.
Yeah.
Did you get a sense of like the lack of image taking in the area brought this on, like the lack of them documenting their own spaces?
I would say that most of the women didn't have access to a camera. Some of them had a few older phones that they could shoot with, but I don't think it was something that they felt really comfortable using all that much. And so, most of the women that I took were really shy in front of the camera. It was interesting to see because it was so in such stark contrast to I found, some of the places I'd been in North America where people pose constantly. And so most of these women really needed a lot of coaxing to get them to a place they were comfortable. And so I would take a picture, I would show them, and they would say, okay, not bad. And they would, as we worked together, they felt more and more comfortable in front of the camera. But most of them didn't seem like, it was part of their everyday to sort of capture their moments like that.
Yeah. And also because you said this project, when you went there, you were to photograph the stuff that they were making, as in, like it was a whole workshop, not just for photography, but the whole, like, what did you say, promotion of their stuff to make their lives better.
Yes.
Did you find like you found yourself encouraging them more to use visual aids like photography to like market themselves to a wider audience beyond where they live?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we were saying was, make sure that you capture your artisan work, not only for sale, but for you to have a reminder, a visual reminder of what you've created. Play with color, try to make sure that, it's taken at a particular moment in time so that it doesn't play too much with the colors of the products that you're sending out, especially if, those are for sale. You want the colors to be as true as possible. So we worked around those ideas and we said, it's important to remember these things because as you move forward, you'll want to know that, item X was a big seller or that item Z was a better seller. And so we talked a lot about the language of photography in that sense and its importance.
Amazing. So
and the other thing, if I just wanted to add really quickly, there was a moment where I was walking with the women and there was a flower on a tree and I sort of plucked it and put it in my ear and they were outraged and they said, you have to ask. You can't just come in and take something. And to me, there's something about, photography in that way as well. It speaks to the way that we interact with photography, asking for permission and making sure that it's okay before we go ahead and snap those images.
Wow. That also speaks to respecting the environment and
Yes.
and respecting people's spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, it does also speak to photography. You just can't go snapping, because at the end of the day, they do not know where you're going to use those images or how you're going to use them. So sort of an element of photo ethics comes to play with these types of spaces, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And before I went, they were very clear that they had had a bad experience with someone from not from the community exploiting their images. And they asked specifically, how are you going to use them? We're giving you permission, but permission for these pictures, and we want to be able to see them. And we talked a lot about consent. And that was very big for them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm feeling so emotional about this. I'm feeling some sort of way, especially when you spoke about the whole consent thing and being in these spaces. And I totally get it. I get it from them. And sometimes, even you as a photographer, you have to sit with those feelings and ask yourself, do I constantly do this? Do I constantly invade other people's spaces?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm in these spaces, how much can I do, or how much am I not allowed to do? Do you find yourself asking yourself such questions?
Absolutely. I think after conversing with them in that way, it really made me rethink. I mean, I know that in North America, you kind of can take a picture of anybody outside, and it's allowed, and that's fine, as long as it's not exploitative.
Yeah.
But I think that if you're a non-native and you go to another place, you really, really have to think about the framing that you're looking to put behind an image, and really making sure that you're garnering consent as well. Because I've seen so many pictures from outsiders, I would say, into places that are just exploitative, look to diminish people, remove their agency in a way. And so I feel like those are conversations we really need to have with ourselves. True. When we go to new places and take images. We can't just always be looking to take without feeling like we're actually giving or getting consent from the people that we're taking pictures of.
I find that it's true what you said, and I also find that the same applies to even if you're a native, because mentally you think, oh, I'm from here, I might as well, that attitude. And no, it has to work. The same attitude you'll have going somewhere else and placing yourself in that situation should also be at home, because you wouldn't want somebody who thinks they know you to come and just photograph or take from you. So
that's very true.
I kind of say it has to work both ways. Don't you think?
I agree completely. And I think that there's a whole debate now around Magnum, and so that's a whole conversation. But part of it is really around are we just there to take? As photographers, is that our only job, to take things without being considerate about the places where we're going, where we live as well, our neighbors? People should be able to consent. I know I was talking to one photographer a long time ago who said he took pictures, but he would always ask sort of after the fact if people were okay with that. And that's one way. Others say they just take pictures. I remember, I forget the name of the photographer who basically gets into people's faces with this big flash and takes their picture and basically runs away. And I thought, oh my God, he's allowed to do that. Yeah, well, he's well known. This is his style, and I thought, we need to have conversations around those things.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I think that's I don't want to use the word perfect, but that's a good way to end this. I don't know which word to use there, because it was a bit serious for a moment there.
Sorry.
It's okay. Anyway, thank you so much, Karene, for sharing your story and your photographs. I really enjoyed looking at them. And this is where we now have to take things to the fun part a bit.
Yes, let's.
So this is a fire question round, and I thought it would be a fun way to like ask you quick photography related questions. So you just pick whatever first comes to mind. So are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Fixed lens or telephoto?
Fixed lens.
Lightroom or Photoshop?
Ooh, Lightroom.
Color or black and white?
Black and white.
DSLR or mirrorless?
Mirrorless.
Film or digital?
Film. Yeah.
That's it. Those are the 5 ones. It's a bit tricky, isn't it? Especially when you love both.
You know what the funny thing is? I don't actually shoot in film personally, but I just love it so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you shot on film?
I have shot on film. And I just bought a couple of rolls and I'm looking to try it again. So I'm kind of excited. I think that might have pushed my answer in one direction, I think.
Yeah, it's good to experiment, but everybody keeps saying it's just expensive, to be honest. But I love it. I love the fact that it slows you down. It makes you think about your work and it slows you down. Yeah.
There's something very intentional about every shot that isn't there when you're shooting with your mirrorless or DSLR, for sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Again, thank you so much, Karene, for sharing with us your amazing work. So please be sure to follow her. I'll leave all the details in the description bar below. So until next time, see you later. Bye.
Bye.